Guess how much this thing weighs? Did I zero that out? Okay, let me just tell you that holding a rod like this in your hand, I mean, there's really something special about it. This is probably going to be the type of combo that just makes me want to take photos of the gear when I'm out on the stream. Man, if it fishes half as good as it looks, we're in for a really fun trout season. Hey there, how's it going? Today I'm unboxing a rod that is for a reel that I haven't even ordered yet. This is the rod that I plan on initially pairing the Shimano Calcutta Conquest BFS, the 2023 version. When I started looking at the rods that I might want to pair it with, I was sort of like, I don't know. And originally I was looking for a rod very similar to the Major Craft Fine-Tailed Glass. It's what I have the Daiwa Silver Creek Stream Custom on. I mean, it's great. It's a great rod for big trout. It handles big bass too. It caught my PB largemouth last year. And that wasn't planned. I wasn't really targeting large bass at the time. And I definitely wasn't targeting largemouth. But he happened to be in that creek and that rod handled it really well. I started thinking like, okay, well, do I really want like two combos that are almost identical? Especially on the high end side, right? When I start looking at my a little bit better, bigger name, the Shimano, the Daiwa stuff, every single one of my combos really does something a little bit different. And so that's when I started thinking like, well, you know what? I don't have a setup that can handle really lightweight, like that's rated down below 1 gram. I don't have anything like that on any of my, let's say, JDM type reels. I'm like, okay, well, what rod do I want to use? And, you know, I got thinking about this because Obi-Wan Kenobi was doing a review of the Palms Native Egeria. And initially I was like, that rod may be a little bit too lightweight for me. But then I started saying, well, what if I was going to try to do something? What's a great rod to pair with the Conquest? What's a rod that maybe I can really push the limits of what the Conquest can do? Because, you know, it's a round reel. It's really designed to be fished on the streams. It's not a reel for bombing lures a long distance. I came up with something that I hope is going to work out amazingly well. This is a brand of rods that, and if you read the title, you know what it is, right? It's a Yamaga Blanks Bluecurrent 3. I've read about it. I've heard about it a few times, but I never thought I would buy one for a couple reasons. Hey, they're kind of hard to find. Like, I haven't had much success finding one. I don't remember what prompted me to log on to Digitaka and just start looking at rods, but I did, and they happened to have maybe just one. They only had a couple models of the Bluecurrents in stock. So now let's try to open the Fort Knox of the tape here and get this puppy out of here without cutting my finger. Get the tip freed, there we go. Ooh. Bluecurrent 3, strive for a new era. Good advice, strive for a new era. Let's see what the tag says. Yeah, I can see Bluecurrent 353B, Yamaga Blanks. Got a telephone number. That's about all I'm getting out of here. We proudly support to the super keen anglers. I'm a super keen angler now. That's awesome. Okay, let's look at this. Close this up. Now there is a difference between the, you know, the JDM type packs and the what you get from the Chinese reels for sure. And these are definitely a little bit more padded. They're packed a little bit better. I mean, look at this. God, is that beautiful. It looks like it comes with like a certification of authenticity. Authenticity. So it's packed in there so well, I'm having problems getting it out. Can't get the rod tip out. When the rod is packed in there so well that you break it trying to get it out. Oh, I'm not going to break it. I'm kidding. Probably shouldn't kid about stuff like this. And this is just a different level of presentation. For me at least. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me just tell you that holding a rod like this in your hand is, I mean, there's really something special about it. I've always been a big fan of the color blue in general. I think it's a beautiful rod. This one is made in Japan. Whether that really matters or not, I don't know, but tends to, you know, the slightly better rods, reels, even like guitars, other things, cameras, you know, the ones that are made in Japan, especially the ones that are still made in Japan, tend to just be a higher quality, you know. And so this one's made in Japan. The foam, you can feel that it's a denser, it's a more tactile foam. The way that this turns, just it feels more positive and connected. Let's see what the specs are on here. So the lure says the max is 4.5 grams. So 0.5 to 4.5 grams. So that probably puts this down at the lowest rated rod that I've ever held in my hands, right? This is rated down to 0.5 grams. A tungsten head, bead head nymph for a fly fisherman, a lot of those are often around 0.5 gram. You get a woolly bugger that has any size to it wet, it's going to be 0.5 gram or more. So what this is saying is that this could possibly cast flies without a Chevrolet rig. It's a lighter blue down here at the bottom, and then it gets to be a deeper blue up at the top. I mean, even just the finishing on the raw carbon blank part where it fits together seems to be absolutely amazing. The fact that this is a 53B, so it's a 5'3", I believe that is exactly the same length as my other short stream rod, the fine tail glass. Part of me wants to put a reel on this rod, but I think there's also a certain level of reverence and respect that I'm going to show it, and I'm going to wait and pair it with the proper reel. So, oh my gosh, this thing feels incredibly. I think this is also going to be a very delicate rod. That may be the biggest challenge for me. This rod, it feels like it weighs next to nothing. I mean, it's got to be, if I can take the two pieces back apart, I want to be very careful with this rod. You know, there is a certain, I only spent like, you know, I got it for $200, which was an incredible deal. I never thought I would get one that inexpensively, first of all. It's still a lot of money, and when you have a rod that is, I mean, look how thin this thing is. When you have a rod that is designed to be this sensitive, you know, cast weights that are amazingly light. For me, like, you know, growing up as I don't think I was a redneck, but I was maybe close. I was a hoopie, right? That's what we called ourselves. I grew up in West Virginia. I didn't have a lot of money. I probably didn't spend $200 in an entire year on my fishing gear when I was growing up. And that's if I bought a new rod and reel. I caught my own worms. You know, we used to trap minnows and seine minnows. Like, I didn't grow up spending money on fishing gear. To spend a couple $100 on a rod, oh my gosh. Guess how much this thing weighs? Did I zero that out? Yeah. Okay, so look. Hopefully it shows up. Right? It's zeroed. Guess how much this thing weighs? So the lightest reel on the market right now is 135 grams. That's the Cast King Kestrel Elite, the Aldebaran, the Dark Wolf Ultra. You know, they all weigh like 100, right around 135. I know a lot of my rods are like in the 80 to 90 gram range. This one is 66 grams. A 66 gram rod. I know I have lures out in the garage that are 20 grams, right? So, I mean, oh my gosh, this thing is, and you know, maybe a little bit of the irony is, it's going to offset the weight. I'm a little curious now to see how it pairs with the Conquest, because the Conquest I think is around 195 grams. It's not a light reel, but that would put, if that's true, then that would put this combo at like 106 or 260. The Aldebaran on The X Pride is like 240. So not that 20 grams is, you know, and not that you're really going to get that tired with bait finesse stuff. It's already pretty small. 65 grams, 66 grams. It's just, and I got to tell you, I mean, I'm inside. It's sort of a crappy overcast day today. So I can't go out and see how beautiful this probably is in the sunlight. This is probably going to be the type of combo that just makes me want to take photos of the gear when I'm out on the stream, right? Man. Okay, so bottom line, this is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I have no doubt that it's going to catch fish. I mean, Yamaga blanks they're really well known by people who are into rods, right? It's at least that's how I see it. They do make like a 6'9" version that's very similar, has similar properties to it. It's not rated down as light. I tell you what, if you've ever heard somebody say, you know, you just don't know what you're missing out on. Like sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And there is just this, the feeling, the look, the more I get into better gear. And again, a $200 rod, you can't even really call that high end. I mean, there are a lot of $400 and $500 rods. It's a step change of aesthetics and feeling, and in my experience, for the most part, performance. Every once in a while you get those gems that, again, I keep talking about the Dark Wolf Ultra, because it's just one of those reels that for me, it does everything right, and it's almost as good as reels that are 3 times the price. The last reel that I unboxed was Mavlo's Delicacy, it was $40 all in. So this is 5 times more. This rod, oh my gosh. I can see me using this for a lot of panfish as well as trout, just because I like the way it feels so well. This is one of probably the 2 rods that when I unboxed it, the other one's the X Pride. And the X Pride, I liked the way it looked. It felt nice, but then once I used it, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this thing. And honestly, it's been a challenge for me not to just buy more X Pride rods. But I'm sort of glad, maybe I'm sort of glad, I don't know. Man, this is just so beautiful. I'm not going to put a reel on it, but just the contours around the grip, the way this is tapered just right. It's got the right kind of grip. The way this spins, and it'll spin an entire revolution just giving it one little turn. The feeling of the seat, it's a nice inset. I don't know if it's black or if it's also blue. So this is definitely a Fuji reel seat. Probably explains some of it. I am just blown away. Let's see what's in the look. So they don't put the tag on the rod. Ooh, it's not a tag, it's a sticker. This might be going on the kayak, guys. Drop that in the sticker drawer right now. I want to see what's in this. So, I mean, it looks like an envelope. Probably warranty information. And it's probably all in Japanese. So, you know, the other side, I doubt that the warranty, even if I could read it, I doubt that the warranty is going to be valid, you know, in the United States. I've sort of been rambling and gushing about this rod because it's just, I don't think I can explain, and I don't think video is going to really convey the difference that you can see and feel in a rod of this caliber. You know, the bad news is it makes me want to say, like, well, what's that $400 or $500 rod really look and feel like? Hopefully we get the Conquest BFS in February. You know, I plan on doing a ton of trout fishing in March once I get back from Florida. This is going to be getting a lot of action. I do feel like that with this rod and one other reel that's coming, I feel like I essentially, in bait finesse now, I have the entire range from ultra finesse to high-end power finesse in essentially finesse reels. I'm going to have all of that covered with higher end systems, and so I'll probably do a review of all of my rods, and maybe I'll do, like, here's the CDM, you know, the Chinese, you know, reels and their setups, and here's the JDM reels and their setups, because for the most part I have a lot of parallels along those at this point. So I may not have like that, the Aldebaran, I may not have a true counterpart to that in the Chinese setups or even the heavier stuffs, but from like the medium light, the traditional finesse down to the ultra finesse, I have that covered very well with the Chinese stuff too, or the AliExpress stuff. So I tell you what, I am blown away by this Bluecurrent 3, right? Absolutely blown away. This is, we got to see how it fishes, right? That's the ultimate thing. You know, sometimes on rod unboxings and rod reviews, I sort of, and even on reels, you know, I harp on the cosmetics sometimes. Ultimately, they really don't matter. But when it's done well, I mean, it just makes you appreciate it that much more, right? I hope that this completely disappears when I'm fishing and I don't even think about the rod and the reel that's in my hand. But on the moments when I do want to look at it, this cobalt blue and just the level of finish, the way it feels, as light as it is, it's going to make it disappear real easy. I can't wait to try this. I have never even seen one of their rods in real life. Just from the initial impressions, the way it feels, like these things they're amazing. If you ever have the opportunity to get one and try one, most of the ones that I've looked at are really on the lighter end of things. I haven't looked at anything that has any real power finesse applications, but that's not what I've been looking for right now. They seem like they're absolutely incredible rods. So can't wait to get this on the water. This is going to be a tough one to edit because I'm just sitting like I am just flabbergasted by how beautiful this rod is, and just the way it was packed, the attention to detail. Man, if it fishes half as good as it looks, we're in for a really fun trout season. With that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the water sometime really soon, probably with this in my hand